International GTOpen 2. Second stop on the season comes to the Paul Ricard circuit in France. Welcome back to day number 2. Race number 2 coming up for you of the weekend. 60-minute race coming up. Driver swaps will happen from 24 minutes to 36 minutes into the race. My name's Chris McCarthy. Thank you very much for being with us on this very glorious afternoon here in France. 27 degrees, not quite as hot as it was yesterday. Yesterday was a scorcher, but you wouldn't complain with that if you were on holiday, would you? 27 degrees. Very nice to be here, I have to say. That car you can see on screen was the car that took the win yesterday. If you weren't with us, then we had an Aston Martin back on the top step of the podium for the first time since the Red Bull Ring last year. Over a year ago now, and we raced in the Red Bull Ring, but it's been a long time since a lot of people have gone racing with the current situations. But a brilliant win it was for Charlie Eastwood and Sally Ulick. They charged to a 22nd win over Joe Osborne and Nick Moss. We go on board here with Florian Schultz and Jens Liebhauser. Now these guys still remain unbeaten in the AM class. Drove a fantastic race as well. They were charging through the order. Florian Schultz and Jens Liebhauser, particularly towards the end of the race, to finish 8th overall and take the AM win. Sadly, we didn't see either of the Bentleys cross the finish line for the Team Lazarus cars. You can see the number 26 there. We'll be hoping for a good result. That's Fabrizio Crestani, Yannick Mettler. That is the number 2 of Nicky Luttweiler. Once again was on the AM podium. 10 podiums in every race so far this season. As Nicky Luttweiler still chasing that first win though. As we now look at the Optimum Motorsport number 72 team of the day, arguably. Yesterday, Joe Osborne and Nick Moss putting an absolutely brilliant performance in to finish 2nd overall and take the Pro-Am win. Their teammates, Optimum Motorsport in the number 7, finished in 2nd place in class. So Optimum Motorsport, I'm sure there was a few beers being shared around there because a 1-2 in class. But celebrations wouldn't have been too hard because they are back to, I'm sure, try and repeat that result today. Louis Pret and Vincent Abrial qualified on pole position earlier. They had a good race, a decent race yesterday, finished 4th. I think they would have liked to have been on the podium. We're carrying a bit of a handicap over though from winning race number 2 at the Hungaroring, but they did qualify on pole position, and in the interview talked about having sort of cleared that handicap a little bit now after not finishing on the podium yesterday. So nothing to be added to them handicap wise for this race. They pull into pole position. So it was Louis Pret and Vincent Abrial who qualified on pole. The AF Corsa, they're in search of their 2nd win and 2nd podium this season. Miguel Ramos and Enrique Chavez will start alongside them. Just pulling into frame there, we can see the other AF Corsa car. This is SPS Automotive. Not a happy return for them, unfortunately. Yesterday they were the last of the finishers, down in 12th place. A spin for Christian Hook just got them off to a poor start, and things just didn't get any better after that. The Vice Pro-Am champions from last year, Valentin Pierreberg, the other driver in that car, who raced with Tom Onslow Cole for the last couple of seasons. That's JP Motorsport. They've had a win so far this season. JP Motorsport with ex-F1 driver Christian Klein in the car. Earlier they qualified down in 13th place. So, oh, there we go. Hello. Jens Liebhauser and Florian Schultz, just a little bit of a misjudgment there. That's a look at the grid though, and we have the cars just getting themselves ready to go. We'll run you through the grid very shortly, and why don't we start that now? Let's start with our pole sitter, Vincent Abrial, the 25-year-old. It's his debut season in the championship. He races alongside Louis Pret. They've raced together the likes of Le Mans. They've been racing in the World Endurance Championship as well, and they're on pole position. Starting alongside them, Enrique Chavez and Miguel Ramos, joint championship leaders now with Charlie Eastwood and Miguel Ramos. They've had a solid season so far. They'll be looking to carry that on here in race number 2 with Paul Ricard, and it's thumbs up from Enrique Chavez. Now we go to Team Lazarus. They just need a finish today. Yannick Mettler is going to start the race for them in the number 26. It's its first season in the International GTOpen. Hugely successful GT race, though many of you will be familiar with him Nürburgring 24-hour winner. And you come to Sally Ulick. Sally Ulick, who's going to start the race for TF Sport, has been making waves over in his home country, flying the flag very proudly for Turkey. They're looking to make it 2 wins. Then we come to Teo Martin Motorsport. This Christian Hahn. The two Hahns racing with each other in the car. Christian is going to be the one to start the race. Would have known him from racing in Euro Formula. And next along, we come to Stefan Ortelli. What a legend we have on the grid in Stefan. Was won the 24-hour Le Mans back in 1998. One of his teammates being Alan McNish. Great to have him here. Likewise, this driver, Stefano Coletti, he's going to be starting in 7th. Ex-Formula 2 racer, raced in GP2. Back in the day, Stefano Coletti, starting in 7th, hasn't crossed the finish line so far this season. He'll just want to finish. Then we come to 8th on the grid, Valentin Pierreberg, reigning vice champions in the Pro-Am class, and for them this year, no Tom Onslow Cole with them. Christian Hook, the driver's jumped in with Valentin Pierreberg, so I'll be looking for at least a podium, I'd say, in the AM class. Next along, we come to the unbeaten team of Florian Schultz and Jens Liebhauser for Get Speed Performance. Can they continue that today? They're carrying a handicap as the wins add up for them, so their task becomes even harder every time. One of the teams that will be looking to beat them is these guys here. Alexei Nezov for AKM Motorsport. Him and Alexander Moseev did very well yesterday, were good towards the end of the race, stole second from Nicky Luttweiler on the last lap when he was given a 3-second penalty. And they're going to go off 10th on the grid. So here's a look at what happened yesterday. TF Sport qualified on pole position. Charlie Eastwood doing a great job to qualify on pole position by half a second over anyone else. This is on board with Vincent Abrial and Louis Brett. As you can see, the two Optima Motorsport cars side by side going in towards turn number 1. JP Motorsport on the outside as well. This was a little bit of contact for Florian Schultz. Whoops, as he made contact trying to turn in towards turn number 1. They would recover though and get a win in the end. Christian Hook went round. I'm going to say hooked it round, but that might be a little bit of a bad one to say. There was more spins. That one was Team Lazarus. Unfortunately, that was the start of a day to forget for them. Good battles going on up and down the field. This was Chad Martin Motorsport versus Nicky Luttweiler. Abrial, once he jumped in the car, was starting to make positions. Went up the inside there, going in towards the final corner. Had the defect coming out of it, but that was the move sealed. But out front, 20 seconds up the road, it would be Sally Ulick and Charlie Eastwood who would take the win. His 6th win in the championship for Sally Ulick, but their first as a pairing. Brilliant stuff from them two. It's Charlie's first win in the championship, Sally's 6th. Well, there we go. People getting ready to watch this one. One very excited. Race number 2 getting ready to go here at Paul Ricard. The grid is formed very shortly. They will be set off for the formation lap and the race will be underway. 60-minute race is going to be. 24 minutes into the race is when the driver swaps will start. Let's run you through how they are going to start. Vincent Abrial is going to be on pole position for AF Corsa. For Teo Martin Motorsport, it's Enrique Chavez. Then Yannick Mettler looking to just finish this weekend. Sally Ulick looking to make it 2 wins in as many races. Then we go to Christian Hahn and Stefan Ortelli. They're going to be on row number 3. Let's see how they can go from there. Then we jump to row number 4. Stefano Coletti just looking to get his first finish. Valentin Pierreberg looking for his first win in the AM class. Row number 5, Jens Liebhauser looking to continue that unbeaten run. Alexei Nezov will want to put a stop to that. He starts on the outside of row 5. Brendan Irib getting faster and faster for Optima Motorsport. He and Nicky Luttweiler, who's going to be on his own, they start row 6. And then row number 7, Patrick Oprinsky, who will hand over to Christian Klein halfway through. And yesterday's Pro-Am winners, Nick Moss, starts on the outside of row 7. Cars set off then for the formation lap around Paul Ricard. Great to be here. This is the 15th season of International GTOpen. It's our 2nd round on the calendar. After this, we will go to the Red Bull Ring, then Monza, Spa, and then we end at Catalonia. So a really good calendar. Like any championship out there, it has had to be condensed, but it is fantastic to be here. This is our 8th time visiting Ricard circuit since 2012. We have visited here every year bar 2014. And it's some of the names you see on the grid, the likes of Miguel Ramos has had a couple of wins here. Valentin Pierberg won here back in 2017. Fabrizio Crestani has won here. Alexander Moziv has also won here as well. Marcelo Hahn likewise. So Pierberg, he took 3 wins here as Valentin Pierberg. The last 3 years he has won. Can he continue that trend? The 4th win in a class this weekend. We'll find out very shortly. They will just need a better start to the race. Their task, the number 72, is going to be a little bit more difficult. They had a brilliant qualifying yesterday. Joe Osborne, who's jumped in ahead of James Pickford for this run. I say ahead, he's had to jump in for James Pickford this round. He's going to be, he qualified 4th in the grid for them yesterday, and they wanted to get that 2nd overall. But Nick Moss did a really good job. He had to hold off the challenges of the likes of Miguel Ramos and Louis Pret towards the end of the race, and really outdrove his experience to get that 2nd. There's Jason Osborne, but that is Nick Moss that we are talking about. Not the best qualifying for him, but we've got a long race ahead. 16 minutes on the clock as we go on board with your pole sitter, Vincent Abrial and Louis Pret. Abrial is going to be the person to start the race for them today. Monegas drivers, home race for them as well. And after they took pole position, Abrial said there's a lot of people watching from home and they want to go out and take the race win for all of their supporters. The best position to do that on the front of the grid. This is turn number 11 at the Paul Ricard circuit. If you're not too familiar with it, we're getting towards the end of the lap now. Lazarus, gloomy faces there. Let's hope there's some smiles by the end of the race. So it's Abrial and Chavez, row 1, Mettler and Ulick, row 2, Hahn and Ortelli, row 3, Coletti and Pierberg, row 4, Liebhauser and Nezov, row 5, Irib and Luttweiler, row 6, Kroprinski and Moss, row 7. There is the team that is on pole position. AF Corsa, this Vincent Abrial. The safety car ahead of us will pull in. Lights have now gone off. When it does, the pace will be controlled by Abrial. This is Jens Liebhauser and Florian Schultz. They will just be hoping for a cleaner start to the race and will make their task of going on and trying to take the victory a little bit easier. As we now head round the final 2 corners, these guys unbeaten in the AM class, and they're in the position to definitely go and do that again. Alongside pole sitters in class, Valentin Pierberg and Christian Hook. To the right-hand side of screen, that is a pole sitter, Vincent Abrial. To the left is Enrique Chavez. Round the final corner they come. Race number 2 at Paul Ricard is about to get underway. Lights go out very shortly. They can see the lights go out, and we are away and racing now down towards turn number 1. AF Corsa lead to the left-hand side in the red car. That is the TF Sport team are on board with the leaders in the AM class, Jens Liebhauser and Florian Schultz. Are they all going to get through the first couple of corners safely? Trying to dive down the inside there. That is Teo Martin Motorsport. Oh, and contact once again. Lazarus going round there. Looked like Stefano Coletti being turned round there by Florian Schultz. So contact at the start of the race, and it's all gone off once again. Florian Schultz finding himself spinning round. I think that was Coletti. We'll have to have a look at the replay, but the other Lazarus car is tumbling down the order there. Another disappointing start for Lazarus Racing. Yannick Mettler it is who's lost places, and I think that's Yannick Mettler losing further places. So it wasn't a happy Lazarus garage before the race got started, and it's definitely not going to be happy now, as there we see the Teo Martin Motorsport 16 just behind the winners from yesterday, TF Sport in the all red, and just in the very top of the picture you might have spotted the Lazarus Racing car. So it is going again, but it's right at the back of the field. We'll see a replay, I'm sure, very shortly. That is SPS Automotive running wide. Valentin Pierberg now trying to make his way back onto the circuit. He comes just on ahead of fellow AM driver Nicky Luttweiler, and JP Motorsport I think are involved in that as well. So we've got 2 AM cars and then JP Pro AM class car just making their way down towards turn number 10, and Patrick Kroprinski, a good start for him. That is Florian Schultz and Jens Liebhauser. They will be beaten this race, so their winning run comes to an end. Jens Liebhauser there beached after, a Paul Ricard version of beached. As he is going to go no further, it appears, in this race. And that was after contact with Coletti. So Jens Liebhauser, unfortunately, has come to a stop. It appears the damage to that car is too much for them to continue. And that's what it did to Stefano Coletti, unfortunately. he is still not going to be able to finish a race. Let's hope that as JP Motorsport, they're having to defend from Alexei Nezov in the number 13 AKM Motorsport car. Down the start-finish straight we go now, and you can see AF Corsa are leading the way from Teo Martin Motorsport. Then it's TF Sport in third place. This is on board with your race leaders through turns 1 and 2. 2 or 3 elevation changes in 1 and 2 corners there. Brilliant section of the track this round. Ricard, that is the number 20 there of Valentin Pierreberg. Better start to the race for them today. It was a disappointing one yesterday, but they're off to a bit of a better start today. That's Lazarus Racing as the leaders now making their way. And here comes Stefano Coletti, and you can see to the front left of that car, you can see, oh, how did that come off? That is a car that's going to need a little bit of work doing. Vincent Abrial leading the way from Enrique Chavez, Sally Ulick third, Christian Hahn fourth, Stefan Ortelli fifth, Nicky Luttweiler sixth, and it's Koprinski, Alexei Nezov, Yannick Mettler, Valentin Pierreberg, Brendan Iriv, Nick Moss, Coletti in the pits, Jens Liebhauser out of the race. So we're looking for the second of the Lazarus cars in the middle of picture there, the black Lazarus Racing Bentley. Now coming into, so we're on board here with Jens Liebhauser. That's Stefano Coletti right ahead of us. Let's try and find out exactly what happened. So Coletti's gone to take the racing line. Jens Liebhauser is in the middle of the oh dear, and there she goes. So now where did the blame go there? Because Coletti was just coming across to take the racing line, and Jens Liebhauser was sat in the middle of the road. So you're looking for a white Mercedes right in the middle of the picture, just about to come into the corner. Stefano Coletti potentially, well, that's, to me, that's just a race against him. Coletti's coming across, and there's just not enough room there for Coletti to come across and take the racing line. From that angle, it looks a little bit worse, doesn't it? It really looked like a race against him. Hard one to put blame there. Jens Liebhauser was just stuck in the middle of a few cars, and just seemed he had nowhere else to go. But the situation in terms of the gaps, Abrial leads by 6 tenths. So your top two are right together. This is the other Lazarus car, Yannick Mettler, trying to get down the inside of Alexei Nezov. Can't quite able to make the move, so they still sit 8th and 9th in that order as they now head down towards turn number 3. These are your two leaders, Vincent Abrial and Enrique Chavez. Just making their way now around turn 6 and up towards turn number 7. Down the back straight we go, and so far you can see Abrial doing a good job to hold on to the lead. Chavez, I think, is just happy enough. I was about to say he's happy enough to sit in second, but I don't think he is he? He's actually trying to put the pressure on Abrial here and trying to get his way back through, but I thought maybe he was going to just settle in behind until pit stops. Here's JP Motorsport in the car for them, Patrick Koprinski. Koprinski's done a really good job, actually. I have to say, he started 13th. He did this at the Hungaroring, made a lot of places. Now, this is Alexei Nezov being passed by Yannick Mettler. There goes Yannick Mettler down the inside, and that is a fairly textbook move. So, good driving that from Yannick Mettler, who's trying to get something for Lazarus Racing to smile about. There is the Lazarus Racing Bentley behind in the green and white colours. That is Alexei Nezov, and in front, the gold and black here, that's Mercedes, that is Yannick, that is Patrick Koprinski. 3 seconds is the gap between second and third, so Sally Ulick just dropping away a little bit. He's got to be careful of Christian Hahn behind him as well. Here comes Nicky Luttweiler in that white and red Porsche. So he turns through the left-hander there, Alexei Nezov. Alexei Nezov trying to maintain the gap to Nicky Luttweiler. Nicky Luttweiler is up in 6th. Has gained 6 places along with Patrick Koprinski. Those two, the biggest movers. I think they chose which way to turn correctly when all that incident kicked off at the first corner. As down here, this is Yannick Mettler trying to get down the inside here of Patrick Koprinski, and that is a good move. I didn't see that one coming, let alone Patrick Koprinski. So great driving that from Yannick Mettler. Another move made, 2 moves in as many laps, and he now goes through into what's that going to be? That's going to be 7th place. So good driving this from Yannick Mettler as he now makes his way up into 7th, up towards turn number 5. We go. Oh, and I think that was more Patrick Koprinski defending than attacking. But the defending's not working because here comes, oh, and Alexei Nezov just taking too much curve. It's a little bit out of shape coming through at turn number 6 through 7. They go now down the back straight. Here are your two leaders once again. Enrique Chavez hasn't had an opening yet, hasn't found an opportunity to make the move. You've got to be careful they don't battle too hard and knock off time before we get to those pit stops. This is the Koprinski battle. So Koprinski has dropped back to 8th. Let's have a look at the move then. It didn't seem that Yannick Mettler was right on his bumper. He was close, but clearly had the confidence in himself that he could make that move, and through he went. Good driving from Yannick Mettler. This is the battle for the lead. The lead has changed, hasn't it? Yes, Enrique Chavez is through into the lead past Vincent Abrial. So looks like, is that a change, or is that the number 16? In fact, that might be. It's not the lead, is it? That's a Teo Martin car and an AF Corsa car, but they're not in the lead. Now that is further down the field. Apologies, that's Christian Hahn, isn't it? Battling away a little bit further down the field with Stefan Ortelli. Now the start is under investigation. That is car number 16 who is under investigation, and that is Christian Hahn, we can see go past there. So this is the battle for 4th place that we are looking at. We can see Enrique Chavez now back to the lead as we go. This is Vincent Abrial and Enrique Chavez fighting for the lead a little bit further back. You can see Alexei Nezov here. Just behind we have Patrick Koprinski on the inside to his outside. He's about to lose another place. There goes Brendan Irving through on the number 7. So a good driving from the American. He now goes up into 9th place. In the background, Nick Moss in the green and black is going to try and drop Koprinski down another place. Moss trying to go with his teammate. Two Optimum Motorsport cars trying to work their way through the early stages of the race. And in the middle of that sandwich, that's the JP Motorsport car of Patrick Koprinski. Round to turn 7 onto that straight. 72 of Nick Moss. 4 attempts back now from Patrick Koprinski, and in the background hasn't really made an impact this yet is Valentin Pierberg, but here comes Nick Moss. He's pulled to the inside now of Patrick Koprinski, and he's going to get him on the brakes. He run too late on the brakes. No, just done enough there, so good driving. Nick Moss goes through and ahead of Patrick Koprinski, who's now going to be under pressure from Valentin Pierberg. 50 minutes plus 1 lap to go here. Back to your leaders. This is Vincent Abrial, Enrique Chavez behind, half a second between them. Sally Ulick next along. He's keeping a fairly good gap. This is the battle between Christian Hahn and Stefan Ortelli. Stefan Ortelli ahead now of Christian Hahn. Christian Hahn dropped a place there, so good driving this from GT legend. As they go through to the final corner, around the final corner now. There you can see 16 of Christian Hahn switching across from single seaters as they make their way up to the start finish line. We're on board now with race leader Vincent Abrial. A change for 4th place further back, and here is that 4th place battle. Stefan Ortelli doing a great job. Legend Stefan Ortelli, really great to have him here. Legend Racing, an up-and-coming driver, I guess you could call, in Christian Hahn. Definitely going to land a thing or two following the likes of Stefan Ortelli. Ortelli will now have his eyes set on Sally Ulick as they come round and into turn number 5 towards 6. Christian Hahn we can see in picture in that number 16, and already it's fair to say Stefan Ortelli is starting to put some distance between himself and Christian Hahn. He's certainly just to defend as they come down the back straight. There is Teo Martin Motorsport on the screen. They're now down into 5th place, but up in 2nd with Enrique Chavez. So they're 2nd in both classes. 2nd in Pro and 2nd in Pro-Am as well. This is Nicky Luttweiler. He is the next along behind that battle we were just looking at. Nicky Luttweiler with Yannick Mettler behind him. Yannick Mettler trying trying to recover after a disappointing start to the race for the second time. New fastest lap from Vincent Abrial. Yannick Mettler doesn't wait around. He's trying to make his move. Is he going to be able to make that move into turn 10? Not quite. Pulls back across through turn 10 now and up towards turn 11. They go. Nicky Luttweiler just defending now as he makes his way through turn 11. Yannick Mettler sat just in behind. Behind this is Alexei Nezov as well. So Alexei Nezov behind this will be hoping Yannick Mettler makes this move, because that will allow him to get closer to Nicky Luttweiler. And it's into turn 1 where Yannick Mettler likes to make his moves, and I think that's where we're going to see this swap, because it's only a matter of time really as they now come through left-hander at the penultimate corner. This is the battle for the lead we go back to. UK Chavez sat in behind Vincent Abrial. Chavez piling on the pressure, but Abrial's dealt with it very well. Just over 45 minutes left. In terms of pit stops, we'll reach those in 11 minutes time. To the chicane we go. And Vincent Abrial doing very good under pressure, was hard charging towards the end of the race yesterday, made some great moves, and now is on the opposite end of the stick, having to just lead away and stay calm out front. Chavez. Oh dear, that's someone straight and off into the barriers there. So we've got a car off on the circuit, so I wouldn't be surprised if the safety car is now deployed. This is your race leader. We are on board with Vincent Abrial, and I think very shortly he is going to be following a safety car. I'm sure we'll pick up again who that was. This is, of course, the battle behind that. This is Christian Hahn chasing down. Oh, and here comes Yannick Mettler. Yannick Mettler now diving to the inside of Nicky Luttweiler. Oh, but runs wide, and he's going to take a cone for a ride as well. And now Yannick Mettler getting back onto the circuit. Well, he's going to have to give that place back. But I think that would have been the team saying, get past now, because there could be a safety car coming out. And Yannick Mettler wasn't quite able to make the move. He's going to have to give the place back. Can't go along with that, surely. This is the Ultimate Motorsport teammates, 1 and 2 in class yesterday. Currently they are 3rd and 4th in class. IRIB ahead of Moss. So they kind of swapped around the second car yesterday, the Pro-Am leaders in the 72. Coletti is into the pits, of course. Liebhauser, they're both out after that first lap incident. 45 minutes remaining in the race as we get nearer and nearer to the pit stop window. Is there going to be team orders going to play here? Well, there's going to be a move down the inside. Nick Moss. Oh no! Oh dear! Optimum Motorsport teammates colliding into each other. Brendan Irib now facing the wrong way, and you can just see that one coming from a mile off there as Nick Moss went for a move that was just never ever going to work. Here are your two leaders, Enrique Chavez there battling away with Vincent Abrial. Hasn't been able to get past just yet, but what an absolute disaster. IRIB just crosses the line now, and he is some 12 seconds behind anyone else. Yannick Mettler has gone through and passed Nicky Luttweiler, or is this a case of hasn't given that place back yet? That is Alexei Nezov just behind, and we were talking about this earlier. If there was going to be a battle ahead, Alexei Nezov was going to come into play, and now this is your AM leader, but just behind is second in the AM class. So we have a battle for the lead in AM developing now. Down the back straight, and it is Yannick Mettler leading this trio, but let's have a look. We've got a yellow flag at turn 15. That's where we may have, that's of course where IRIB was facing the wrong way. IRIB has come across the line, so those yellow flags will probably be back in now. But in terms of pit stop window, we are 8 minutes away from that. Right, we're going to have a look at the replay here. So this was the move that was made from Yannick Mettler, and he's gone straight on, so he has to give the place back. And if he hasn't, then, well, we've got incident involving cars 7 and 72, so the Optimum guys are under investigation, but that is a place he has to give back. Here it was. Now, that's never going to work, is it? Takes the curb, and round she goes. So, Nick Moss, surely. And that is, in the background, we've got the incident, and we've got Nicky Luttweiler saying, why haven't you given me that place back yet? What a disaster. I tell you what, Nick Moss really won't enjoy watching that one back. He planned the move at a corner in advance, but he just was not close enough to do it. Had to take the curve. In the end, it was a case of he was just trying to avoid hitting IRIB, but he couldn't quite do it. There's Nicky Luttweiler there in the number 22. And, turn number 2 he goes, and he's behind Alexei Nezov. And I've been seeing things in this race, so I'm very glad that someone else is alongside me, because I need help, basically. Elliot Wood alongside me for the voice, of course, around the paddock. Great to have you along. What have you made of what you saw so far?
Well, I've been quietly analysing that clash between the two teammates. And
Shall we start there?
There was no excuse for that kind of action at the final corner. I mean, it's an apex that closes up. The driver should realise if there's another one coming in, the only thing you can do is open your steering, otherwise it's going to end in disaster, and that's what we saw.
And as for Yannick Mettler?
50-50 on that one.
50-50?
Yeah.
Ow. He cut the chicane.
But it depends, because obviously this is a circuit where the chicane is probably the highest speed entry of any corner on the circuit.
Right.
And, you know, the brakes have a mind of their own sometimes. It's not always down to the driver.
Yeah, but he's got to give the place back, no?
I'll leave it to the stewards.
What?
I'm just a commentator. I'm not a steward.
Oh, okay. What about the start then? Let's go to that one next.
I'm quite glad the start is under investigation. I think it is very important. Obviously, you know, lap 1 you can lose a race, can't win a race on that one. But we have seen this in a few races this weekend where everyone packed all their action into the opening few corners and then remember that they have to be careful from then on.
A real shame to see Coletti and Liebhauser out, but this is the battle that has been going on for the lead. Abrial and Chavez. I thought I saw someone in the back as well, but I genuinely think I'm seeing things this race. Ulick is 3rd still, Ortelli is 4th, Christian Hahn 5th, Mettler is 6th place, and it's Nezov, Luttweiler. So they've swapped places. Nezov and Luttweiler in the AM class, so that's a change for AM lead, after Luttweiler was furiously waving the headlights getting Yannick Mettler to allow him back through. Kroprinski is also in 9th. Now we have a reprimand, don't we, for car 16, and that is Christian Hahn. So that is for the start? Yes, it is. Christian Hahn being winner. Looks like a race to this. Here he is. He's behind Ortelli. Ortelli up into 4th place. Stefan Ortelli going really well. Closing in on Sally Ulick now.
Yeah, he's got years and years of experience behind him. So
Legend.
He's probably driven this circuit more than anyone else has in a GT car. We'd have to verify.
He's won it all. He's a real legend here. Won multiple championships in GT, and including the biggest race that you can win in the 124 hour. And that is Christian Hahn running out of talent behind Stefan Ortelli, and now rejoins. So Stefan Ortelli and Christian Hahn car is going to look a little bit smaller in the mirrors.
Could that be down to the tyres? Because, I mean, you said at the start of this race it was a little cooler than it was yesterday, but
You friends with Christian Hahn or something?
we've certainly seen the sun getting almost actually lower in the sky, but because we're surrounded by basically nothing, it actually kind of hits more of the asphalt because obviously we have our pit building, so during a certain time of day that casts a shadow slightly onto the pit straight and then vice versa the other way. So we're now at that part of the day where the shadows are minimal and the track is boiling.
Through turn 1 and 2, Stefan Ortelli is getting closer now. Let's look at lap times. We have car 26, 3-second time penalty to be added to race time for Canada chicane. There we go. Yannick Mettler, no surprise to see that, but 3-second time penalty. I don't think he's going to really contribute to that stuff. I think it would have just been a case, just go, we'll take the penalty, keep going.
But he'll lose 2 places now when he only had to really give back 1 to avoid, avoid not having a penalty. So
he should have. Yes, I really did think he would have given place back. So there we go. But that has kind of been solved now. This is the battle for 3rd overall. which I think we need to pay attention to. Sally Ulick being chased by that man there, Stefan Ortelli. 50 years old, Stefan Ortelli now. He's got as much experience as his age as well.
And we just saw at the front of the frame Enrique Chavez go through. He's just set the fastest first sector of the race, a very quick second sector as well. So potentially it's not the tyres that are going down. Although we have only got 2 minutes for the driver pit window opens. So drivers may be trying to get fastest laps in before they have to hand over to the teammates. Show who's the boss.
I wouldn't be surprised if Sally coming in here, because he kept a really stable gap to the leaders, 3 seconds, which, you know, you're in the fight, but now he's dropped back to 7, so he's starting to really struggle with that car.
I think he's going to be passed in very soon.
He'll come in as soon as he can. He'll be in the next lap. Now we have 90 seconds until that pit stop window opens. This is your leader, Vincent Abrial. So far so good. He's actually opened the gap to Enrique Chavez, but it's coming back down because Enrique Chavez just set the fastest lap of the race, and he was the battle for 3rd place between Sally Ulick and Stefan Ortelli. Ortelli trying to have a look down the inside. Ortelli is going to be one of the drivers that stays out all the way until the pit stop window closes as he comes around turn number 2 down towards turn 3. Is it better for Sally to just let him go here? I think he might do. Going into turn 3, when we get to the back straight, which is only 3 corners away, I wouldn't be surprised if Sally Ulick allowed Stefan Ortelli to go through. And in fact, no, he's defending into there, so does not want to be passed at all. Oh, and Stefan Ortelli's going to go for a move. Sally Ulick has given him the space. Good driving from the pair of them, and Stefan Ortelli just nudging Sally Ulick wide to say, get out of the way. And now he's through. So Sally Ulick running wide because of his tight line through 7, and a good move being made, and Stefan Ortelli now up to 3rd place.
And Christian Hahn looks like he's going to try and make a move as well. It looked like at the beginning of the lap there that Jolak actually decided to let him through, then actually thought better of it. And because as he swept back across his line, and there was a lot of miscommunication between those 2 cars there. Can you get me through or can you not?
Well, just behind, Christian Hahn is now on the case, as you said. He's now looking to make a move, and in 5 seconds the pit stop window is going to open, and I think that TF Sport car is going to be in because Sally Ulick is just not getting on with that car anymore.
And Enrique Chavez, as we expected, has just set the fastest lap at 2 minute 2.054, which is actually pretty close to the pace of the cars behind. Although Sally Ulick is struggling, he is just about 1.5 seconds off the pace. So we see a replay of the move there.
Well, this is how
just
wide.
On the entry to the chicane.
That's how wide Sally Ulick went in the exit. Good move that.
Because even there, you can see Ulick actually turning in slightly, even though Ortelli had already committed to the move and was side by side. So a bit of miscommunication between them.
I don't think you can classify that. There's Christian Hahn now. He's obviously ahead of Sally Ulick, who bails into the pits. And Sally Ulick in, and Charlie Eastwood's gearing up. He's now going to be waiting to jump in that car. We do have another penalty to tell you about. We'll come back to that in just a second. But coming into the pits, 85-second handicap, 10 seconds added on from yesterday. Charlie Eastwood and Sally Ulick will swap over.
Yeah, and car number 7, which is Brendan Arup, has been given only a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision with none other than his teammate earlier in the race.
Yeah, well, I mean, well, it was Brendan Arup who was facing the wrong way for a bit longer. But that was Arup being given a penalty there. As into the pits comes Nick Moss. He's now going to hand over to teammate Joe Osborne. Oh, that was a worrying signal when you get there.
And there comes the second one behind. I don't think they're going to be very happy when both of them get out of the cars.
Oh no, that's going to be you go in that way and you go in that door, and let's keep both locked.
You know, we only have room on our timing screen to show 1 penalty at a time, so chances are they may both have penalties. If we find out soon.
Yeah, we'll tell you by the end of the race. This is the 2 leaders, and that gap's coming down. So is this a case of Abrial needs to come in? This is JP Motorsport, so Christian Klein has jumped in that car, and he's getting ready. They only have a handicap of 70 seconds, so this is positive stuff for Christian Klein. This is good news because he's got 15 seconds over the likes of TF Sport, for example. I know they're quite a long way back from that, but you know, in relevance to some of the other cars out there, he's definitely going to be one to watch now as Abrial is staying out and behind, so is second as JP Motorsport now leaves pit lane.
Enrique Chavez set another fastest lap on that last time round, a 2-minute 1.816. So definitely the faster driver right now. As the two McLarens come out the pits almost a lap behind at this point. It's going to be very awkward going into the first corner. This could actually impact the race lead, and the Ferrari does actually get through. Turn one after 2 bites, and then Enrique Chavez has now basically got traffic between himself and the leader. Is the McLaren going to let him through?
I thought he would there, but yeah, he's not going to fight until he goes through. So this is it's quite a good place for these guys to slot into. This is Joe Osborne in the 72. Behind him, orange colours is Ollie Milroy. This isn't a bad place to come out though, is it? You've got the 2 leaders ahead of you. The driver ahead is the fastest on track. I mean, although I know these Joe Osborne and Ollie Milroy are capable of being the fastest themselves, and that must have been an interesting one to watch for them. The 2 pros watching the 2 AMs clatter into each other, or let's say one crash into the other. That must have been an interesting one to watch for them, but they're both out on track and they're going to be doing the best they can now to bring the teams back into play.
And actually the pro driver in the McLaren took way too much curve. They bounced over. I think all 4 wheels were briefly off the ground as he landed. So the second McLaren's coming, third McLaren in a row is coming closer now. I expect these 2 cars would pit very soon. They're already going wide through turns 10 and 11, so their tyres probably aren't gripping as much as they were earlier. Equally, you'd want to get past before you pit as well. You want that advantage. You want to be going into pit stop phase going, I know I finished this first stint better than you did.
Here's Enrique Chavez, still behind Abrial. In terms of pit stops, only 7 minutes and 30 seconds left, so only a few more laps if they stay out to the end.
And one of the lap 1 incidents between cars 28 and 44, so that was the Lazarus Bentley driven by Stefano Coletti, and the Jens Ebers car that is out. That's under investigation, but will be decided after the race.
Yeah, no need to spend time on that one while they're both sitting out of the race. And just a real shame to see that Stefano Coletti again not make it to the end.
And is a McLaren going to try and unlap itself on Enrique Chavez? This is a very interesting strategy here, because clearly pro drivers are faster on fresher tyres.
They would have wanted to get out ahead,
Yeah.
That's why there was furious defending. Say furious, that's why there was some defending.
And he's got his lights on as well, even though he's a lapped car and he's trying to unlap himself.
Well, it's because he's absolutely rapid. He's saying, get out of the way, please.
Probably the first time I've seen that in GTs, that someone's trying to lap themselves using the lights.
Yannick Mettler comes here. Fabrizio Crestani is going to now jump in that car. And it's just the case of getting to the flag now. It's just been a real disaster for Lazarus Racing. But and here we go. He's going to unlap himself now. It's Joe Osborne in towards the chicane. Don't clatter into him, please. As they now come through turn number 9 and just about unscathed. But this really isn't good news for second place Enrique Chavez. But that is going to be unlapping himself now, Joe Osborne.
Yeah, this is giving me flashbacks to 2019 when the drivers in the McLarens always tended to either source their teammates or other drivers in McLarens end up in race-ruining incidents for themselves when they're in, victory contention.
And that continues today, doesn't it?
Yeah, tradition.
Someone had to do it. Now behind, this is Ollie Milroy trying to dive down the inside. If you're Enrique Chavez, just come in. I know he's fine, but in long term, he's got to just come in. He's got 2 guys that are really trying to get back into play. Dive into pit lane.
But you would have had your strategy planned out before the race. And you don't want to, obviously you do kind of want to react to what's happening around you, but if you're racing the car that's 2 car lengths ahead, which is the Ferrari, these just happen to be 2 distractions in the way.
Yeah, that's true. Just under half an hour remaining in the race. We still have the top 7 yet to pit.
And I'm thinking, if you are in a slipstream, is that going to help with temperatures? How much air is going to get through to the radiator?
Don't ask me a question like this. This is your field.
It's not my field.
In this commentary box it is.
I just like listening to the engineers. I go off for an interview with a driver and they end up sitting in a briefing and go, oh, that's very interesting.
Just keep taking notes in articles. Really work out, and in commentary, it all comes into play, doesn't it? Here's Nicky Littweiler coming in for a swap of anything else but another driver. So tyres are going to go on, but driver swap.
Hits gets its pit marks very nicely, painted in yellow.
Well, he's got good practice. He's been doing a lot of racing this weekend.
Oh, and the second Optima McLaren is trying to unlap itself from the outside of chicane. Enrique Chavez slides his way through for the first part of that corner, keeps position. But you know what he's done in the process? He's lost 2 or 3 car lengths there to the other McLaren, who's already unlapped itself. And side by side down the second part of the mid-star straight, who's going to take the inside line? Optimum car is through, going into turn 10.
But you know what, for Enrique Chavez, the same thing would happen to Vincent Abrial. You know, there's still just under 4 minutes to go, so the same thing could happen to Vincent Abrial now. So it will swing back the other way in his favour shortly.
It may well do. It depends if what's Vincent Abrial's pace. 2:02, 4:18. And yeah, Joe Osborne and Ollie Milroy in the 2 McLarens, 2:02.4 and 2:02.3. Faster than anyone, even though they are in traffic. Essentially, they're trying to make their way past other drivers, and Abrial stays out again. Chavez dives into the pits.
Enough is enough.
And he's in the lead of the race very briefly, though.
Yeah, let's get out of it. So into the pits we go, and Miguel Ramos is about to jump in. So this is one of the other pit stops now. They're handicapped 72nd, so handicap-wise, they're in a pretty good situation here as they now pull into pit box. It's ready to jump into the car. There's always that when you jump out of the car, the little run-off afterwards, isn't there, in GT racing? It's going to keep your head down and run for a bit.
Right, you know who I ran into this morning?
Charles Leclerc. Of course, Charles Leclerc is here.
He's been enjoying the GT Cup Open Europe and GTOpen races, and watching his younger brother race the single season.
It worked out nicely for him that when he was coming to watch this, that, of course.
Yeah, because obviously he's a Ferrari driver, so he'll be.
I'm sure his brother said,
Vincent Abrial to win.
When you come to watch GTOpen, can you give me a lift home afterwards? So yeah, Charles Leclerc is here, got barged into by Elliott earlier, and
I was doing my job.
Even though you barged into him, he said sorry to you. So. But great to have him here. Great to have him here at the track.
I believe he's actually driven one of these cars. I don't think with Vincent Abrial, I think with Ortelli it wasn't Virtual Le Mans, was it? He was joined as one of the Ferrari lineups for a big esports event,
yes.
If I'm correct. Who was he teamed up with?
Now, I should know this.
Because you commentated
on it, yes. Stefano Coletti, Charles Leclerc, sorry, was there. Now, he was with, there were so many drivers doing that race.
He was definitely in an AF course car, which is, of course, the lead car we're watching on our screens right now.
Yes, he was, yeah. I tell you what, though.
Into the pits.
Yeah, it was a race. They were doing okay, but when it hit the night time, things just fell apart. But people mainly remember Charles Leclerc for that race because he would actually eat going down the straight. So coming into the pits, then Abrial is going to jump out the car. Louis Pret will get in.
In fact, I've just found a story. Charles Leclerc very keen to do real-life Le Mans racing after the mythical experience in virtual race.
Yes.
Would have to get into GT racing with Ferrari first. Well, you know, GTOpen AF Corsa competing in this series.
Yeah.
Love to have him.
AF Corsa just had a great line. I mean, it was kind of headed up by that, but the other drivers they had in those cars were superb esports GT drivers as well. Big names. Oh, whoops. There you go.
They just let loose a tyre.
There's Christian Hahn. Having a little race against the pit lane. Alexei Mazov. Yeah, that's much better. You texted him, Charles Leclerc.
No, I'm finding the lineup. So we had Michael Molina, who has obviously done GTOpen in the past. Frederic Leo, Federico Leo, also done GTOpen in the past. And then 2 esports specialists, Amos Lorito and Jordi Zvias. I have actually had a Jordi.
Yeah.
Tested my esport knowledge here. In the second car, we had Niklas Nielsen, great single-seater talent, great in GT.
Niklas Nielsen was a karting superstar. He was a Tony Kart factory driver.
He still is, isn't he? He still does back and
he does the bit.
events.
He was a Tony Kart factory driver. Tony Kart team are supported by the Ferrari Driver Academy.
Yeah, and David Perel, Casper Stoltz.
David Perel as well.
Matteo Caruso. And in the 52 car was Leclerc, Antonio Giovinazzi, Enzo Benito, and David Tanitza.
Yes, well, those two are very quick sports races. So they had a very good team. In fact, that race, basically people like Leclerc, I mean, he does a lot, but everyone who was GT single-seater professional races would go to the esports driver and say, teach me everything you know. Anyway, we must get back to the race because it's all going off and we're losing track. Everyone is coming into the pits now. Let's find out where the handicaps are. So Louis Pret is leading. He's on your screen now. Behind him is Miguel Ramos. This is a replay. Now Valentin Pierreberg's car is ahead. This is JP Motorsport, and that is a very nice move as they go through. So brilliant stuff this from JP Motorsport. Round the outside. And there you go, move done. That's Christian Klein making his way through. So here is where we're at once the pit stops now have been made. Louis Pret leads. There he is on your screen. He leads by 1.1 seconds over Miguel Ramos. Angelo Negro now in the number 48 has come up to 3rd place, having taken over from Stefan Ortelli, who actually did a fantastic job. However, Marcelo Hahn, who's jumped in for Christian, he is only 1.4 seconds back in 4th place. Charlie Eastwood absolutely flying. The battle we need to watch is down in 3rd place, because that one is going to be a cracker, because we have Eastwood coming up to play there, and Fabrizio Crestani not too far behind that as well. Nicky Lutweiler, and here we go. There goes Charlie Eastwood down the inside of Marcelo Hahn, and Charlie Eastwood's up into 4th. Now, remember, Charlie Eastwood was the one who qualified pole yesterday, and he helped the TF Sport win, the TF Sport take that win, and now he's about to get another place as he comes up towards Angelo Negro. He's going to look to the outside at turn number 14. Is he going to go all the way around the outside? Charlie Eastwood's going to give this a go. Oh, and contact there with Marcelo Hahn as Charlie Eastwood tried to go back to open up the corner. Well, I hope neither car has picked up damage, but Charlie Eastwood is going to have a second attempt now down towards turn number 1, and this time Angelo Negro is going to leave him the space, and there goes Charlie Eastwood to go through into 3rd place, and in the background Marcelo Hahn is going to try and follow him through. Marcelo Hahn trying to dive down the inside. This the battle for the lead in the Pro-Am class now, and Marcelo Hahn on the switchback is going to go through. So good driving that from Marcelo Hahn. Behind Fabrizio Crestani, he's trying to make 2 places up here as they come up to the chicane. Crestani in the Bentley as they come round the left-hander, who's going to try and have a look down the inside into turn 5. There he goes, block pass, brilliant driving from Fabrizio Crestani. He now goes up to 5th place. We've got a brilliant end to the race lined up. We've got the 2 leaders split by a second. We've got Charlie Eastwood, a hard charging Charlie Eastwood in 3rd place, and then in 4th place we've got Marcelo Hahn, who is being chased down from Fabrizio Crestani. However, when Crestani catches and potentially passes Marcelo Hahn, as you can see, he has a bit of bodywork hanging off. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. We're then going to have this driver here of 2nd in class, Angelo Negro, catching. Now this was the moment where Charlie Eastwood just lost track of where the number 16 of Marcelo Hahn was there, and then this was where the move was made, the first move on Hahn, which led to then the replay we saw before that. This is into turn 5. Brilliant move that from Fabrizio Crestani down the inside of Angelo Negro. And there's a look from another angle, and Negro, that is one of those moves where it was nowhere to go, and just, that's when you put your hands up and say fair play, and through you go. Now in the AM class, Nicky Lutweiler is 7th behind all of these guys. He is leading the AM class. Christian Klein is 8th place. Of course, he's the pro driver, having jumped in that car. He's charging his way through. And then Christian Hook is in 9th place. He is driving for SBS Automotive. He and Valentin Pierreberg has won 3 times around here, looking for his 4th. They will be trying to close the gap down to Nicky Lutweiler. The gap between the 2 leaders in AM is, let's see, it's about 7. It's just under 8 seconds. Joe Osborne is then 10th, 4th in Pro-Am. He and Ollie Milroy trying to recover a podium result for Optimum. Then it's Alexander Mosey having jumped in for Alexei Nezov. And then we have the 2 drivers out of the race in Coletti and Jens Liebhauser. Now we go back to Fabrizio Crestani. He's now caught Marcelo Hahn. This was where he made a place just a lap ago. Not close enough to do the same this time. But Crestani trying to make his way through on Marcelo Hahn as they now round turn number 7. Flat down through there, takes a curve as you do it, and up they go down the back straight. Fabrizio Crestani trying to line this one up, and it is all kicked off here on the last couple of laps. As there goes Crestani looking to make a move, as now through the chicane we go. A little bit too much curve there for Marcelo Hahn. Don't forget that car is carrying a penalty, the number 26, a 3-second time penalty after Yannick Mettler cut the chicane earlier on in the race, trying to make a move into that chicane. But it looks like Crestani will stay with this, because it looks like Crestani is about to make a move here. Can he do it in the final few corners? Up towards turn number 11 we go. Not able to find a way through just yet. Oh dear, running a little bit wide there is Marcelo Hahn, but I think he just about gets away with it into the last corner. That's where it's all going to go off, and that's just 2 corners away as Crestani right on the rear bumper here of Marcelo Hahn. Oh, a little bit of a drift coming out of turn number 12 there. Good control driving that from Fabrizio Crestani. Right, here we go. It's going to be into the next corner. We're going to see a move shortly. Marcelo Hahn trying to be wise to it. He's going to defend. Crestani is going to take a wide line on the exit. Crestani's surely going to have the legs on him going out towards turn number 1. Let's see if he can make this move in towards turn number 1. Just seems that he's not the quicker in a straight line. And I think Marcelo Hahn might hold on, but down the second half of the straight, he's been able to get a run. And here comes Crestani down the inside. And that is move complete. Lovely driving Crestani through the 4th.
Great move, and he's got a little bit of damage there in his front left, which hasn't slowed him down at all. We've actually seen this Bentley get faster as the race has gone on, especially in regards to stint length, whereas the McLarens do look like they've slightly faded. Even though they've obviously got great drivers in the cars at the moment, it doesn't look like the McLarens working well with the temperatures, which have been going up throughout this race. And here's a replay of the move by the Bentley, hitting the curbs as hard as he could on turn 1 to get it turned in quickly. And we're looking back at the lead battle now. Louis Pret 1.5 seconds ahead of Mika Ramos. Car number 22 has a 1-second penalty due to not doing their pit stop for long enough, probably by 1 second. And that is Nicky Leutwiler, who literally just had another penalty about 3 minutes ago, I saw on the timing screen. Not a good race for him.
No. Well, he did this yesterday, didn't he? When it came to picking up penalties. As we go on board with Louis Pret. Now I'm just looking at the times and seeing it looks like Louis Pret has the legs over Miguel Ramos. We'll find out when they come round on this lap. So last time Louis Pret extended his lead by 0.4, but it was a second not long ago. It's now 1.6. Here they come out of the final corner. Oh no, that's a slowing number 16 of Marcelo Hahn, who has some evident problem. The Tara Martin Motorsport car. There goes Nicky Leutwiler through.
Looks
JP
like the
Motorsport.
rear end. Yeah, the rear end's kind of sagging to the ground. Possibly a diffuser problem or suspension, rear right.
Yeah, it looks like there's evident damage to the rear right when we got a look at the back of the car. This is your leader, by the way. This is Louis Pret. Miguel Ramos behind. Miguel Ramos, it's the other Tara Martin Motorsport car that has some problems. So that's going to put Angelo Negro up to 5th. It's going to put Nicky Leutwiler overall into 6th. What a result that would be for Nicky Leutwiler. It would be his first win of the season as well. So we're going to see on into pit lane. Here is the yellow flags. So has he grinded to... Oh, that's because we have debris to the left of
we had
there.
some of that down the pit straight as well a few laps ago, but the lead car actually pretty much pushed it out of the way.
Yeah.
There's not many things to exactly hit around Paul Ricard, so it'll be very interesting if he has actually got damage or an impact somewhere.
Well, there'll be a marshal that's going to hope that's going to be in the boot of their car later, so I'm sure they'll try and get that out of the way as quickly as possible. Right, here we go. This is when we're going to find out, and it's the right rear that they are looking at. Let's have a look.
That's been a puncher, maybe.
Maybe. So, right, let's have a look. This is where it's going to happen. Through turn 7. And yes, puncture.
Total delamination.
Now, we had this in GT Cup Open Europe, didn't we?
Yeah,
yesterday.
at the very end of stints.
At the end of races, we had cars, we had delamination of tyres, put it. Well, that problem is currently being solved, and hopefully they'll be back out shortly. As we can see Stefan Ortelli there, just watching on. What a job he did car, Stefan Ortelli. So great to have him with us this weekend. He's handed over to Angelo Negro, and they are in the lead of the Pro-Am class now. With Hahn having that problem, of course, Negro is now in the lead of class. So, what is his gap over Christian Klein? Because that is what Stefan Ortelli is getting ready to watch.
It is 6.841.
And here is the lead. Here is, no, in fact, that's the other AF Corsa car, isn't it? That's second overall. Angelo Negro is your leader in Pro-Am, 5th overall, and it's come down significantly on the last lap. It's 5 seconds, isn't it? It's even 4.5. So Christian Klein in the 88. As you can see to the left of your screen, trying to chase down Angelo Negro. The next on Klein's list is Nicky Luttweiler, who's only a second away, and then he has 4 seconds to Angelo Negro, and he's catching Angelo Negro at a rate of 4 seconds. So he's going to be with him in 2 laps.
Potentially.
Unless Nicky Luttweiler can put up the best defensive performance, and having watched him in GT Cup Open Europe and this, he's not bad at defending when he wants to be Nicky Luttweiler.
And he has a car which is probably well suited to defending as well. Shorter wheelbase than the Bentleys and the McLaren, certainly. So he's got an advantage on that front.
And Joe Osborne as well. I tell you what, Negro's in danger of dropping the 3rd.
In fact, if we do look at the lap times, it is just Negro who's dropped time. Everyone else is in the 203s and 202s.
And he's in the 206s. Now, was that just a one-off lap? He had a poor lap.
No, he is a second down in the first sector this lap as well.
Now, these are the 2 cars that also could get past Negro as well.
But could also hit each other.
Maybe. Anything can happen in this race.
And Louis Pretz actually just set his personal best lap up front. He's brought his lead up to 2 seconds over Miguel Ramos in the first 10 Monty McLaren. You see the Osborne cars. That light in the front right of the Joe Osborne car's been on for, I think, since the crash in the first stint.
I think he's just forgotten it's on. Maybe sometimes drivers just leave them on, don't they? Right, this is the car that we were talking about. Christian Klein is in it, and you can see Nicky Luttweiler may even pass Negro before he does here, because this is Angelo Negro leading this trio now, coming round the penultimate corner. And this, oh, there goes Nicky Luttweiler. That's very bright. Oh no! Nicky Luttweiler spins, just about able to avoid him. There was Christian Klein, the 2 Optimum Motorsport cars, and to avoid it. And has he stalled it? Yes. Yeah. So Nicky Luttweiler may go no further in this race. Potential safety car.
And there comes the first AM car in class. So I think he's just lost the AM class lead to Christian Hook.
He has, and that's put Christian Hook and Valentin Pierbo back in the lead, and that could be a 4th win. I count that as around here. Just going back to have a look, so that could be a potential 4th win for Valentin Pierbo. Side by side here down towards. Oh, that's Christian Klein down the inside of Angelo Negro there, and that is a change of lead in the Pro-Am class. Christian Klein goes through. We have the top 4 in Pro-Am all together here. The 2 Optimum Motorsport class just behind as well. What an end to the race this is going to be. Then Joe Osborne is first in that queue. Ollie Milroy is next along. Angelo Negro could lose 2 positions here down the back straight.
And Luttweiler is still stuck at the final corner. He hasn't got the car going again. We're not seeing that on screen. Yeah, actually, that might have been in the shot, the back of shot. He might have got going again. Yeah, he has. He's moved the car, but has he? Because obviously he went past the pit entrance. So we see the 2 McLarens again. Negro's missed the corner entirely, but we've now got Osborne and Milroy fighting each other as well. As the Ferrari rejoins, they're all going to come along free abreast, I think, down this part of the straight, which has helped the Mercedes escape very slightly.
Yeah, Christian Klein is now escaping. He comes through shot, and there go the 2 McLarens past the Ferrari. So that is Angelo Negro there in the 48, who was dropped from 1st to 4th in the space of 1 lap. So here we go. Just an over-optimistic move there from Nicky Luttweiler, and that's exactly the same with what we saw with the Ultimate Motorsport cars earlier, albeit 1 spun rather than 2, and just about able to avoid. Christian Klein was slightly lucky there, and this was the change of lead. Sorry, this was the change of lead. Christian Klein down the inside there of Angelo Negro, had to use a bit of track limits to do it, but got through, and that was the moment it all started to fall apart for Angelo Negro.
Yeah, the safety car's on standby, and it has moved to the end of the pit lane. So I think it's going to be moved now, because the message was that the number Luttweiler is still stuck at turn 15. Hasn't got to turn around. We can't see him now there.
No, he's
not. But he hasn't made it to the end of the lap. So where's he gone?
Well, he wouldn't have drove backwards into the pit lane. Has he crossed the line? No.
No.
Well, no, he has. So he did a 3:23. So he has crossed the line. it just took him
So
an
the
extra
safety
minute
car
to get
moved,
there.
expecting him to stay there.
What's Nicky Lookwiler going to say to the safety car driver about that? Well, here we go. This is your battle for the lead in Pro-Am. 1, 2, and 3, all in shot. Could Optimum Motorsport, after the AM drivers taking one of the AM drivers taking the other out, get a 1-2 again? How good of a result? What a recovery that would be. As they come round, we go on board with the overall leaders. Their lead is still 2 seconds over Miguel Ramos. Louis Pret in the car for them. Miguel Ramos trying to fight back in this, but what an end to the race we have lined up here in International GTOpen around Paul Ricard. This is going to be absolutely fantastic. Get comfortable, because we've got the top 3 in Pro-Am all fighting away with each other, and we've got the top 2 in Pro also potentially getting ready to fight each other.
Yeah, potentially, but looking at third place Charlie Eastwood, he is at least a second lap faster than 2 cars in front.
He's
Only
not got the time,
eight
though,
minutes
is he?
left. Yeah, he's not going to do it. Incident involving cars 22 and 48 under investigation. That is Lookwiler and Negro.
I think we know which of the ones is going to be the one getting the penalty, because Negro was minding his own business, and then Nicky Lookwiler was like a missile coming into the final corner and just tagged in the back of him. So, take a breath and let's go for it again. Miguel Ramos in second place, trying to chase down your race leader, Louis Pret. Through he goes into turn 3. This is Charlie Eastwood. Although he has the pace, he'd need a safety car to stand any chance of catching the top 2, or he'd need them to take each other out at the last corner, because that's where we seem to be having all of the contact. The more interesting battle is going to be the one for lead overall in Pro-Am. It's Klein, Osborne, Milroy all together. They're split by less than 2 seconds, and their lap times. So Christian Klein last time did a 2:03.3. They're split. Oh, there we go. That's a good lap. Joe Osborne has just put in a personal best in 6th. He's done a 2:01.7, which makes him the fastest driver on circuit in his first race of the season. I believe his first race potentially ever in International GTOpen. He is now charging up to the back of Christian Klein.
I think that's our first 2-minute 01 lap since the pit stops, and it's only 4/10 off the fastest lap set by Fabrizio Crestani's teammate in the first stint.
Now we've had the team manager of car 48 being asked to report to the team manager asked to be report to the stewards. This is Crestani, still with that bodywork damage, but still circulating and on for a joint match best result. I made that long sentence a lot longer than it needed to be, but they matched their 4th place from round number 1. There we go. Right, this is the battle for the Pro-Am lead. 1, 2, and 3, all in picture. Klein, Osborne, and Milroy. JP, Optimum, and Optimum. Through 8 and 9 we go. Oh, this is going to be a good one, isn't it? Christian Klein is going to do the best he can to hang on and get a second win of the season, but also chasing a second win is going to be Joe Osborne as well, as they now come up towards turn 10. Through turn 10 we go, and in the background Ollie Milroy, do not count him out either. 5.5 minutes remaining.
And as we saw the first time McLaren said, Joe Osborne going slightly wide at turn 10, drivers have already been warned in this stint that abusing track limits at that corner will result in a penalty after a few too many times of doing that. So they have to be very careful in these final 5 minutes, otherwise, you know, the stewards' room could potentially decide this Pro-Am victory.
Gap coming down between the 2 leaders. Miguel Ramos has just taken 4/10 out of the lead of Louis Pret.
And just so I say that, Joe Osborne in the other McLaren has now got a warning flag for track limits at turn 7 and turn 10.
Can you blame him? He's chasing down a race win in the Pro-Am class. Out of the last corner he comes, and he's now trying to line up this move on Christian Klein down to the first corner. Klein leading Osborne in the Pro-Am class as they make their way towards turn number 1, and in the background the other Optimum Motorsport car, 3rd in class, and it almost looked as if Osborne was just toying with the idea of going for a half move in towards turn number 1, but for now sits in behind as they head through turn 2 up towards turn 3. It's going to be the back straight. When we get to there, that is when it's going to all kick off, I'm sure, as they come through 3 now into 4. Turn 5 is a place you could go for a move, but he's not close enough to do it on this lap. Tighter line in there for the race leader in Pro-Am, Christian Klein, as he now comes through 6. So this is going to affect his run down the back straight. You can see the better line being taken from the car behind, and that is Joe Osborne. Now down the back straight we go. Mercedes versus McLaren. Is Osborne going to be able to get close enough to make a move? Let's find out. You can almost see the McLaren completely hidden behind the Mercedes as they come into the chicane, and he doesn't look close enough to do it this time.
Yeah, and I don't think he'll be able to do it at the end of this lap either, because he's already been warned that he can't go too aggressive at turn 10, and that is the ideal place where you want to line yourself up behind the driver ahead. Surprising that Ollie Milroy has actually dropped 2.4 seconds to these two, because he's in the same car as Joe Osborne, so there's no reason why he should be 2.4 seconds slower.
That was the car, though. That was so far behind. I mean, he's done a brilliant job just to get himself into play, because that was the one that was completely stopped at the final corner and lost 12 seconds to the other Optimum Motorsport car. So I'd say you've got to give him credit, but you are right. He is dropping away now in the latter stages of this race. Whether he's just used up all of his tyres, I don't know. That could be the case. But if these two start battling up ahead, then he'll be there or thereabouts within a lap or two. So round the final two corners we go. It's going to be very hard to get a move on Christian Klein. Joe Osborne is going to have to do the very best he can here as they come out of the final corner now and down the start-finish straight. Louis Pret in the lead, by the way, has reacted to that time from Ramos last time. He's extended his lead by 3/10. So good driving there from Louis Pret as we go in towards turns 1 and 2. And it almost is exactly the same as it was a lap ago as they now fly through turn 2 down towards straight.
And we've got more warning flags for cars 17, 59 and 26. That's actually our leader, Louis Pret, and Mikel Ramos in second place, all for track limits at turn 10.
Look how much curb they're taking through turn number 3. Oh, this is getting close here. Osborne almost able to go for a move there. Klein just being aware in the ahead here. He's just the car ahead, just being aware, taking slightly tighter lines where necessary, and he does just have the legs as they're coming out of turn number 7 and down the back straight. But let's see if Joe Osborne can do anything about this as he's sat there in the toe. They're getting closer to the braking zone and he's getting closer. He's going to have a little look to the inside. He's forced Klein to go slightly defensive. So Klein is going to lose speed now coming out of turn number 9. I still don't think Osborne's going to be close enough.
Yeah, the McLaren does look more agile in the twisty sections, but the grunt of the long-nosed Mercedes just pulls it away on the straights. But it is quite funny that McLaren can tuck in and almost be invisible. And it's getting so close.
If he didn't have his lights on, you'd almost forget he was there at times, wouldn't you? As Pret's come across to start what will be the last lap of the race. So here we go. Optimum Motorsport watching on there. Can they get another victory in Pro-Am after what could have been an absolute disastrous race after the contact earlier? Through turn number 13 we come for the penultimate time. This is 5th and 6th overall and 1st and 2nd in the Pro-Am class.
And our AM class winner, I think, is going to come up to 8th place now because car 48, which is Negro's being penalised causing collision. Last collision they had was with Nicky Luttweiler.
Yes.
So potentially he's been called at fault for that, and that's going to put our AM class winner Christian Hook into 8th place overall.
Well, here is Louis Pret. He is, as the battle for the Pro-Am lead flashes past our commentary box window. These are your overall leaders. Miguel Ramos has done a good job to keep these two honest, but it looks like Louis Pret and Vincent Abrial are on to take their 2nd win of the season as they now make their way down towards turn number 10 for the final time. Miguel Ramos 3 seconds back, Charlie Eastwood and Sally Hewlett's car sat there in 3rd. It will be a 1st and a 3rd for them this weekend. A absolutely brilliant result for them, but it's only a few corners to go now for the AF Corsa team. Louis Pret and Vincent Abrial, they were 4th yesterday. They took pole position earlier on today. Vincent Abrial going out this morning to put the car on pole position, and since then they have driven a clean race. They fought off any challenges, and now there's just one corner between them and a 2nd race win of the season as they come into the final corner. Round the final corner they go, and it's going to be a 2nd win of the season for AF Corsa. They come across the line to take race number 2 victory here at Paul Ricard. Smiles all around for Vincent Abrial and Louis Pret. A fantastic result for them. It's a 2nd win of the season. Miguel Ramos and Enrique Chavez will extend their championship lead in 2nd. And after a win yesterday, this has been a very good weekend for TF Sport as they come across the line to take 3rd place overall. Brilliant result for TF Sport. Finishing in 4th place will be Fabrizio Crestani, and that's going to match their best result of the season after a DNF yesterday. I think they'll be happy with that one. But what about in the Pro-Am class? Because there's only half a second between between Joe Osborne and Christian Klein, but Christian Klein, his experience showing here, he's dealt with the pressure very well, and he's going to take a second win of the season in the Pro-Am class. It's a win for JP Motorsport, and after contact earlier, 2 cars on the podium for Optimum Motorsport. What a weekend it has been for them. Second for the 72 of Joe Osborne and Brendan Irvin, 7th and 3rd for the Ollie Milroy car. Brilliant stuff. This is for 4th place. It's going to be 4th place for Negro in Pro-Am, but it's going to be a win for Christian Hook and Valentin Pierreberg. For the first time this season, we have a new winner in the AM category across the line. SPS Automotive take a win in the AM class, and it's yet another win for Valentin Pierreberg around this circuit. Alexei Nezov and Alexander Moseev will finish 2nd in the AM class, and 3rd in the AM class is going to go to Nicky Luttweiler. Well, brilliant stuff. Louis Pret and Vincent Abrial taking overall victory. They had to deal with a lot of pressure towards the end of the race. Teo Martin Motorsport, who you can see were visibly disappointed to not go and take that victory. They are still in search of their first win of the season. That is their 2nd time finishing in 2nd place this season. But with the performances and the points they are having added up, they are still in the lead of the championship, having beaten TF Sport to the line. So let's confirm the results for you then. Your winners, Vincent Abrial and Louis Pret, who brought it to the line. Enrique Chavez and Miguel Ramos finished in 2nd, and rounding out the podium to end a brilliant weekend, Sally Ulick and Charlie Eastwood. Fabrizio Crestani and Yannick Mettler finished 4th. Your winners in Pro-Am, Christian Klein and Patrick Koprinski, finishing 2nd in the Pro-Am class, Joe Osborne and Nick Moss. And then it was Ollie Milroy and Brendan Irvin finishing in 3rd after the 2 Optimum cars making contact earlier in the race. They did a great job to finish 2nd and 3rd. Christian Hook and Valentin Pierreberg were 8th, and it was Stefan Ortelli and Angelo Negro in 9th. Behind that, Alexei Nezov and Alexander Moseev, and it was Marcelo Hahn in 11th. We had Nicky Luttweiler, Stefano Coletti and Jens Liebhausen not finishing. Here's your points. The leaders are Miguel Ramos and Enrique Chavez, 2 points ahead of Sally Ulick and Eastwood. Pret and Abrial only 4 points back. Then it's Klein and Koprinski and Crestani and Mettler. Very close in the championship, but we're only on the 2nd stop of the calendar, and this was the moment that they claimed their 2nd win of the season, AF Corsa, as they came out of the final corner. That was Louis Pret bringing it home to take another win for AF Corsa, the most successful team in the championship when it comes to titles. And are they on their way to take a 5th title in International GTOpen? Louis Pret getting ready to climb out of the car, and you can see the delight from the team. There's Vincent Abrial. They are absolutely delighted with that one. We did hear from Vincent earlier, and they were very confident that they were going to go on to take a win. They did mention, of course, the handicap, which they knocked off yesterday, and a great win for the pair of them. There is Miguel Ramos, very happy with that. Teo Martin Motorsport, a little bit happier than what we saw from the team. Enrique Chavez coming over as well, happy with that one. Another podium, another 2nd. That win is genuine. It's not too far away, is it? It could even come at Red Bull Ring. There's Charlie Eastwood. He's done a great job this weekend. He and Sally Ulick, 1st yesterday, 3rd today. They had to deal with a handicap, and I think they dealt with it very well to go and finish 3rd overall. We will hear from our winners very shortly, and then we'll have the podium as well coming up as the drivers just come into pit lane and get themselves ready to get onto the podium. And we will hear from them as well. We'll hear from our race winners, Louis Pret and Vincent Abrial. Overall, a fantastic race. For me, that's been the best race of the season so far. No, there's only been 4 of them, but that was a really entertaining race. It will be hard to beat, because that battle we had for the lead, the battle for the Pro-Am class, the drama all the way throughout, lots and lots of entertainment, and I really hope you have enjoyed watching that one. I think the drivers, all bar 2 of them, will certainly enjoy watching it back. Really good fun to commentate on, really enjoyed that one. So let's recap the top three then. Your podium finishers in race number 2 here at Paul Ricard. Sally Ulick and Charlie Eastwood after their win yesterday. Third for them today. Another brilliant performance. It's another second in the championship for Miguel Ramos and Enrique Chavez. They are adding up a lot of points and they are your championship leaders. But a second win of the championship, another race 2 victory. The AF Corsa of Vincent Abrial and Louis Pret on the top step once again in race number 2. Let's go and hear from them now.
And here again with Vincent Abrial, Louis Pret for their second win in the international GTOpen on a very warm afternoon and home race for both and for the team. Let's start with Vince because the start was quite lively.
Yeah, that's one way to say it. I mean, we had to push like hell. I don't know how we did it, but in qualifying we managed to put the car on pole. We were struggling a lot with the pace this weekend, but the team did a great job to give us a perfect car. And yeah, in the start I did my best to be quick early to try and make a difference. We were very quick in different parts of the track, which made it entertaining, let's say, but not for me. But then I handed the car over to Louis, and he keeps impressing me day by day. He's just so quick, and he did the job perfectly. He held the pressure from a multiple champion behind him, so it proves the speed of the guy. So I'm very happy, and yeah, thank you to AF Course and to everyone that came.
Yeah, Luis, you never had a big margin, so you had to control the situation, and that's what you did.
Yeah, it was, I mean, Vince did an amazing job at the start, and I knew that I had to keep the position, otherwise he would have killed me back in the garage. So it was just a bit complicated when the Porsche spun. At the last corner, we had to go really wide, and we took a lot of tires, and it took 2-3 laps to come back, and it was really slippery. So at that point it was quite sketchy, but the car was just amazing today, and we've made a huge step compared to yesterday. So I'm really happy and looking forward for the next one.
Bravo! Enjoy the moment, enjoy the podium.
There was more drama at the start of the second race here at Paul Ricard. As we got underway, it was Vincent Abrial and Louis Pret that would lead us off down towards turn number 1. But sadly for Lazarus Racing, they would once again find themselves facing the wrong way at turn number 1 as contact was made with Jens Liebhauser here, and that saw Stefano Coletti going round. It was the end for both of their races as the rest of the field would charge off to go away and fight for the win. This was the other Lazarus car of Yannick Bettler trying to make their way back through. This was one of the many talking points as they cut across the chicane, didn't get the place back, and they would later go on to receive a penalty. This was one of the big talking points. The two Optimum Motorsport cars, don't think they'll enjoy watching that one back. One of them ended up facing the wrong way. They would go on to finish 2nd and 3rd in the Pro-Am class though. This was Stefan Ortelli. He provided a lot of the entertainment while he was out there. Of course, former Le Mans 24-hour winner. Then we had the pit stops. This was Enrique Chavez coming in to hand over to Miguel Ramos. Vincent Abrial would then hand over to Louis Pret, would go on to take the victory. Number 26 would make its way back through the other team Lazarus car. There was a puncture sadly for one of the Teo Martin Motorsport cars with Hahn in. This was Nicky Leutwiler running out of talent as he would find himself facing the wrong way. Make it worse, he would go and stall the car. This was then the fight for the Pro-Am lead. The moment Christian Klein took the lead in the Pro-Am class ahead of Angelo Negro, the two Optimum Motorsport cars behind got themselves onto the podium. But the win would go to AF Corsa, the second this season, and this was the moment they came across the line. Louis Pret to claim the victory in race number 2 here at Paul Ricard.
Yes!
Okay, let's get the drivers onto the podium. There are the TF Sport drivers. Christian, Charlie Eastwood and Sally Ulick finishing in 3rd place. Brilliant drive from the pair of them. Win yesterday, 3rd today. A lot of points on the board. Teo Martin Motorsport finishing 2nd place. Enrique Chavez and Miguel Ramos to the left of your picture. But your race winners, Louis Pret and Vincent Abrial for AF Corsa. They're enjoying these second races on Sunday. They've won them both so far. And we'll get one of the representatives for the team coming up from AF Corsa as well. Everyone on the podium, so we'll now go over for the national anthem. Brilliant win for AF Corsa. Visibly happy with that one, aren't they? Sally Ulick talking to Charlie Eastwood there. I don't think he's the happiest with the result, but good points on the board, and it is extremely close in the championship now. To the left there, Teo Morning Motorsport. Good results for them as well. In search of their first win, but they get closer and closer, and they're going to get out of there. Sally Ulick likewise, and now AF Corsa. It's oh, empty podium. Okay, fair enough. I should have drunk it instead. 2 more podiums still left. We've got Pro-Am and Nicky Lutweiler. So actually he's getting ready to go to the podium. That's the Get Speed team also there as well. It's the Tao Martin Motorsport team with the Optimum Motorsport team. We're about to have both of their cars come onto the podium. The drivers at least. Both races, they've had both sets of drivers on the podium. Great stuff from them. So Pro-Am it is that is going to be next. First onto the podium, we will have Ollie Milroy and Brendan Motorsport there. Well, he's got to use it on someone, isn't he? Because everyone else ran off. So here comes the first of the Optimum Motorsport drivers. It's going to be the number 7 of Brendan Irib and Ollie Milroy. They weren't far away, challenging for the win. Good points in the bag. Trophies to take home in both races. I think they will be happy with that one. A good recovery for them. And it's a good job. The steps on the podium are away from each other, isn't it? 72 to the left, Joe Osborne and Nick Moss. But the winners, it is Christian Klein for JP Motorsport and Patrick Koprinski. Winning team, JP Motorsport. Great stuff from them. We'll get some pictures, and then we'll do the champagne as well. Second win for Klein and Koprinski. Optimum Motorsport were second and third. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the live feed. Thank you very much for tuning in. We're going to do it all over again in just a couple of weeks' time. 12th and 13th of September is when we're going to be at Red Bull Ring. Make sure you join us. Until then, take care. I've been Chris McCarthy. Thank you very much for listening.
Et dans quelques instants, juste après ce podium de contest,